Welcome to the Resource Nexus podcast. Today we're diving into some of the best true mid-major newcomers, whether through the D1 and D2 transfer portal, junior college, or international routes. We'll also draft a team that fits and see how it grades out in the model. For the full article, stats, and more deep dives, check out theresourcenexus.com. After tracking transfer classes for the past 4 years, one thing has become increasingly clear. The quality of talent filtering down to the mid-major level has changed significantly. Pre-NIL, and even in the early stages of its implementation, there was still room for smaller programs to land proven high-major talent. You would see established players like a Jake Stevens stay with their coach or move down. But now, with NIL dollars flooding the market, the dynamics have shifted dramatically. Take BYU, for example. They reportedly spent $400,000 on a 9 points per game shooter with a sub-10 PER from Idaho. That kind of spending has completely redefined the marketplace. It's no surprise that many of the better true mid-majors are getting priced out of the top tier of the portal. Maybe next year, if revenue sharing is enforced, things will balance out. Still this year, as Dr. Ian Malcolm once said, life finds a way. And some mid-major coaches, they're finding a way too. This offseason, I was genuinely impressed by what some of these so-called little guy programs were able to do. They brought in newcomers from D2 and international leagues. Despite limited resources, they found undervalued players who actually fit. Now, to be clear, we're not talking about well-funded mid-majors like Gonzaga, Memphis, Dayton, or Grand Canyon. We're also excluding high-resource schools from the Mountain West and the American programs like Wichita State and USF that can compete financially. Instead, our focus is on schools with athletic budgets, typically ranked 100th and lower, teams with modest NIL pools, lower coaching salaries, and very little national visibility. That means cutting out most of the top 10 conferences. So yes, the Power 5 plus the Pac-12, the MWC, the A10, the WCC, and the American are off the table here. We're also excluding High Point since they're operating with AAC level money and their players are being valued accordingly. What we're prioritizing is team fit, shooting, and roster balance, and we're going to highlight some of the best true mid-major additions in this cycle. Here's the plan. We'll draft a top 8 players because realistically that's the level of investment you'd want to make. Personally, I'd even try to condense that into a top 5 and then find backups around the margins. But for our purposes, 8 feels like the right number. We've got a pool of 15 players to work with, and at the end we'll build out our 8-man rotation. So let's dive in. Jeremiah Bear Cherry, Sacramento State's big-time get. At 6'11 and 280, Jeremiah Cherry isn't just a big man, he's a mountain in the middle. Sacramento State quietly landed one of the best mid-major transfers in the country, and somehow no one seems to be talking about it. Cherry anchored a UNLV defense that finished 59th nationally in efficiency and was 93rd ranked overall. And keep in mind, that was in the 6th best conference in the country. By a wide margin, he was performing in. In just 24 minutes per game, he averaged 9.9 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 1.5 blocks. He shot 62% from the field and put up a 20 PER. Now, if you translate those numbers out per possession, they really pop. Nearly 4 blocks per 100 possessions. A true shooting mark of .624. That's elite efficiency for a front court player. What makes Cherry stand out is the scarcity of guys like him. While Power 5 programs are scrambling late to add lesser bigs, Sac State landed a proven Mountain West center. One who projects as the 248th best player nationally in advanced rankings. Defensively, he posted a 102.8 defensive rating, legit anchor material. Offensively, his 1.147 offensive rating shows he doesn't need to be force-fed to make an impact. For head coach Mike Bibby, this is a signing that shifts expectations. Cherry's presence alone raises the Hornets' ceiling. In a mid-major landscape dominated by guards, they've landed a rare commodity, a true rim protector and rebounder who's already thrived at a high major level. Is it possible there was a little self-NIL involvement between him and GM Shaq? Sure. But nationally, Cherry is still clearly undervalued from what I've seen. Simply put, Jeremiah Bear Cherry is one of the most underrated big-time signings of the entire offseason. Jamel Jones, New Mexico State's walking bucket. If Jeremiah Cherry is all about size and defense, Jamel Jones is pure firepower. The 6'4" guard might be the most slept-on scorer in the entire country. Last season, Jones ranked 4th nationally in points per 100 possessions, dropping buckets at will. And he did it while playing in a system that could charitably be described as outdated. He put up 18.9 points, 3.6 rebounds, and 2.1 assists in just 27 minutes per game. That's good for a 25.6 PER. But here's the kicker. When it really mattered, in conference play, he was even better. 20.9 points, 4 boards, 2 assists, and a steal per game in the 12th ranked conference nationally. His efficiency held strong with a true shooting mark of .559. That's remarkable, considering defenses keyed entirely on him. And let's be real, he had zero spacing, no secondary scoring options, and was stuck in an antiquated offense that ranked 364th in three-point shooting, basically the worst in the nation. Even with all that, Jones currently projects as the 275th best player nationally in our model. And it's not just the scoring. Per possession, he's productive across the board, rebounding, assisting, and contributing in ways guards his size usually don't. Now here's the stat that really blows my mind. During that 20-game conference stretch, Jones posted a 34.5 PER. That's elite company. For perspective, Zion Williamson's all-time best was 40. Steph Curry and Damian Lillard, in their peak mid-major seasons, were at 36 and 34. Jones was right there with them. Simply put, Jamel Jones isn't just a walking bucket. He's a walking bucket with the numbers to back it up. Roman Doman, Murray State. At 6'9" and 225, Roman Doman is Murray State's latest international gem. He spent last season in France's top league, logging 17 minutes per game against pro competition. Now, the numbers on paper are modest. 6.2 points, 3.1 rebounds, and a 12 PER. But here's the kicker. Statistical translations put him on a similar tier to Jamel Jones, and he's doing this at a young age, in the very same league where Victor Wembanyama developed. Our model ranks him 292nd nationally. That means if he adapts smoothly to the American game, Doman could be a real difference-making forward. He also gives this hypothetical mid-major dream team a third player in the top 300. He does take a decent volume of threes, though he hit just 26%. That's a number you'd definitely like to see climb higher. But the foundation is there. Size, versatility, and international experience. Doman is a high upside bet for Murray State. Alex Chaikin, UCSB. Now let's flip it to pure shooting. UCSB landed a sharpshooter in Alex Chaikin, a 6'4" guard who ranked second nationally in three-point percentage as a freshman at Lafayette. Chaikin averaged 13.9 points, 2.6 rebounds, and just over 1 assist per game. But the real story? He shot 48% from deep, and his true shooting percentage was a ridiculous 67%. That's elite efficiency. At 6'4", he's tall enough to get his shot off against longer defenders, and he combines that accuracy with foul drawing ability, averaging 3 free throws per game. When you put all that together, Chaikin ranked top 15 nationally in true shooting as a freshman guard. That's impressive, no matter the level. His scoring skill set should translate immediately as he moves up a level, giving UCSB a legit floor-stretching weapon. Honestly, it's shocking he didn't get interest or end up at an even higher level. Chaikin has the look of a steal, and for UCSB, he could be the missing piece that makes their offense hum. C.J. Luster, UNCW, added some serious firepower with C.J. Luster, a 6'3" scoring guard who averaged 17 points per game last season. He shot 42% from three, knocking down 102 triples. That's not just good, that's elite volume and accuracy. Add in a 21 PER, and you've got a plug-and-play floor spreader who instantly elevates UNCW's offense and maybe even their ceiling in conference play. Personally, I always appreciate shooting, and Luster is as proven as they come. Another one of the best gets in the mid-major market, Isaac Finlinson, Hawaii. From the islands, Hawaii may have landed the crown jewel of hoops. Isaac Finlinson, the national JUCO player of the year, is a 6'8" wing with size, skill, and efficiency. He averaged 19 points and 6 rebounds while shooting 39% from three, 78% from the line, and rocking a true shooting mark of 63%. Finlinson checks all the boxes. He's a floor spacer. He's versatile defensively. And he's a plug-and-play scorer who should make an immediate impact in the Big West. Simply put, he looks like a ready-made star at that level. Carson Johnson, Denver. Now let's head to Denver. They picked up Carson Johnson from Division II powerhouse Minnesota State Moorhead. And this guy can flat-out score. At D2, Johnson averaged 20 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists per game while shooting 42% from three. He knocked down 3 triples a night and added just enough playmaking to keep defenses honest. The creation isn't as high as you might want in a primary guard, but let's be real. There aren't many better options available at this level. Johnson brings high-volume scoring with just enough versatility to create for teammates. For Denver, he should be a focal point, stretching the floor, generating efficient offense, and giving them a legitimate go-to scorer. Vladimir Salaridze, Youngstown State. At 6'7" and 225, Vladimir Salaridze brings toughness and versatility to Youngstown State. Last season at Tennessee Martin, he averaged 11 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists in just 26 minutes per game. He also hit 36% from deep, knocking down just over 1 triple a night. That blend of passing, rebounding, and floor spacing makes him the kind of all-around forward every coach wants. Salaridze may not be the headliner, but as a complementary front court piece, he's exactly the type of glue guy who makes rotations work. Rugged, reliable, valuable. Isaiah Dorceus, Milwaukee. Now let's talk about Isaiah Dorceus, one of the most intriguing guards in the class. At 6 foot even, he earned first-team NJSCAE Division I All-American honors and was named Citrus Conference Player of the Year. Running the show for the 6th-ranked program in the country, Dorceus averaged 14.5 points, 4 rebounds, and nearly 4 assists per game. He shot 47% from the field, 40 from three, and 75 from the line. That's efficiency across the board. He can score, he can create, and he can manage an offense. Milwaukee just landed a floor general with immediate impact potential. A.J. Dankler, Coastal Carolina. Finally, A.J. Dankler heads to Coastal Carolina after transferring from Lemoyne. At 6'2", he's got just enough size for the point guard spot, but what really stands out is the shooting. He averaged 15.1 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 3.4 assists while hitting 40% from deep. Now the question is whether his creation will translate to the mid-major level, but his ability to stretch the floor from the point guard position is rare, and that makes him a valuable addition for the Chanticleers. Tyron Moore, Georgia Southern. At 5'11", Tyron Moore is proof that size isn't everything. After a quiet year at UAB, he's back at Georgia Southern, where he previously showed he could score and create as a lead guard. Last season, Moore averaged 17 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 3.1 assists, with an impressive 24 PER on paper. He's the most proven point guard option in this pool. That said, the inconsistency is real, and that's the part that makes me hesitate. Still, if he finds his groove again, Moore has the tools to be a difference maker at the mid-major level. Caleb Van de Griend, Idaho State. Now let's talk about a big man who can dominate. Caleb Van de Griend put up monster numbers at Division II, averaging 21 points and 13 rebounds per game for a team ranked 21st nationally in Division II. At Idaho State, he'll bring that same inside-out presence. He can score in the post, stretch the floor, and clean the glass at a high rate. Simply put, he's a force on both ends of the court. Van de Green projects as a high-usage front court option who can immediately impact wins. He's the type of player you can build an offense around in the Big Sky. Patrick Wessler, UNCW. UNCW added much-needed size in Patrick Wessler, a 7-footer transferring from Virginia Tech. He combines length with defensive versatility, and he flashed real productivity in limited minutes. At Tech, he averaged just 10 minutes per game, but posted a 19.4 PER and 64% true shooting. That's efficient. Now the caveat is, Virginia Tech wasn't good. They finished 164th nationally, and he still couldn't crack the rotation. But as a backup big, Wessler makes sense. Rebounding, rim protection, and just enough offensive touch to keep defenses honest. Quentin Mincy, Campbell. Finally, let's highlight Quentin Mincy. At 6'6", he brings a strong two-way profile to Campbell. He averaged 16.8 points, 6.3 rebounds, and nearly 3 assists per game, all while hitting 39% from deep. That mix of size, scoring, and secondary playmaking makes him one of the more versatile wings in the class. The only question, his eligibility status. Do you want to take the risk? That depends on how much upside you're willing to gamble on. But if he's cleared, Mincy is the type of wing who can change the equation for a mid-major program, a Billy Smith, Chattanooga. At 6'7", Billy Smith is a modern wing who can really shoot it. He averaged 14 points per game last season and knocked down 39% from 3, with 2.5 makes per game. That's reliable floor spacing at volume. On film, he also showed some surprising ball handling ability for a player his size, giving him more versatility than just a spot-up shooter. The weakness, rebounding. At only 2.8 boards a game, he doesn't contribute much on the glass. Still, his combination of size, shooting, and secondary playmaking makes him a valuable weapon on the perimeter. Just don't expect him to anchor the boards. Drum roll. It's time to draft the 8-player rotation from our pool. These are the guys I'd actually fit and spend minutes on. Balanced, versatile, and ready to contribute. This isn't always the highest level players or potential. Let's break down the lineup and see how it all fits together. Center, pick 1, Jeremiah Cherry. Cornerstone big. I take him and give him every minute he can handle as the anchor inside. Power forward, Roman Domon. Too much potential to pass on given what he did in Jeep Elite. Not the cleanest fit, but he can back up center when Cherry's off the court and gives needed upside. Wing Jamel Jones. Elite scorer who's also an underrated rebounder and creator. A versatile wing with solid size at 6'4" that can drive offense would be the clear second pick in drafting. Shooting guard Alex Chaikin. Elite young shooter with the size room to grow as just a sophomore. Scored better than expected in other areas, making him a strong piece. Point guard Carson Johnson. Point guard is the weakest position overall, but Johnson brings scoring and a little creation on the smaller side, but he's the best bet here and would compete with Dankler for the starting position, who we will draft now as first combo guard off the bench. AJ Dankler, best combo guard fit. At 6'2", he has the size and shooting, 40% from 3, to play off ball, plus 3.4 assists per game, shows he can create some. Might would start over Johnson. Not the highest seeming ceiling, but the most versatile option to cover minutes and add lineup flexibility at shooting guard. More about fit and size here. Forward, Isaac Finlinson. At 6 feet 8 inches, he gives you a big wing who can score in several ways as the JUCO Player of the Year. With 6 boards per game, he could also play small ball, high upside swing that seems to have the handle and move well enough to actually play on the perimeter. There are other more proven options, but this seems like the one with upside if it works, that is also still proven in his own way, and adds an extra versatility and dimension if you go smaller. Power forward, Vladimir Salaridze. A fit pick, he passes, rebounds, and shoots well enough to complement Cherry and Domon in the front court. His addition could lets Doman slide to center at times, which there was a higher talent stretch for, but he balances the rotation and seems to fit the best with enough shooting ability and rebounding. This roster would grade out to roughly the 70th best talent in my model. We could have boosted the rating by adding someone like Wessler, but this lineup was built with fit in mind, prioritizing shooting and spacing, something a smart coach could leverage to make up the difference. There are several power conference and many on the major conference tier I would take this roster over: Seton Hall, Boston College, Rutgers, Stanford, for example. All right, that's a wrap for today. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you got some good insights. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who'd find it useful. And don't forget to check out theresourcenexus.com for more in-depth analysis. Until next time, check you later.
Cool. Guess we'll see you around.
All right, check you later.
Bye.
Wait, man, why are you always such a dork, man?